Hello, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to take a look at, I didn't do a bagged and boarded last week, so I'm take a look at what I bought this week and just a couple things that I picked up last week that I wanted to hit on because they're kind of, important to like the things that I'm reading. And this first one I really want to talk about because I love Frankenstein. I mean, I just absolutely love Frankenstein, and I've been really enjoying the what Skybound has been doing with the Universal Monsters comics. And so I don't say this just because Frankenstein is my favorite of the Universal Monsters, but issue 1 of this Frankenstein series was probably my favorite Universal Monsters series yet that they've done. I enjoyed Frankenstein. I enjoyed the first issue of Dracula. Still saving that to read more towards Halloween. And I enjoyed the Creature from the Black Lagoon. So that was a fun story. Picked up more towards the end than the beginning was kind of a slow burn. But Frankenstein, instantly, I was like, yes, this is great. Art is by Michael Walsh, and he's writing it too. Sorry, it's I forgot about that. So he's writing and drawing it, and it's a kind of a passion project for him. In the letters column, he talks about how he originally had to pass on this project, and then had been kicking around these ideas and really wanted to do it. And then another project of his fell through, so then he scrambled back and said, "Hey, can I still get on that?" And thankfully they hadn't picked up an artist or writer yet, so he was able to do it. I actually picked up a second copy. This is the Francesco Francavilla variant cover. There's going to be a series of 4 of these that are going to be connecting covers, and you can see I love Francavilla's art. We got the Planet of the Apes there. I've got on the other side. I've got Halloween poster they did. I've got some other Universal Monsters on Frankenstein, Dracula. I love his stuff, and especially on this kind of horror properties. It's kind of where I think his style shines. So I had to get that variant cover. But Frankenstein, it fits right into it's weaving it through the original film, the original 1931 Boris Karloff film, and I love that. I love that. That's what it is each issue is kind of featuring on how they obtain a certain body part, and I love that concept. It's like to see like where these pieces came from, like who the owners were. That's great. So first issue, really enjoyed. Obviously looking forward to the rest of the series. All right. So the next thing I picked up last week was a continuation of the Energon universe, Scarlet issue 4, written by Kelly Thompson and art marked by Marco Ferrari. This I actually enjoyed. So Scarlet I think has been getting some slack. Some people have not liked some of the characterizations in the book, and I don't mind it. I think it's it's a fun action oriented ninja story. Scarlet's on a mission to rescue Jinx. Jinx and Scarlet finally in this issue have a chance to kind of talk. I mean, Jinx has kind of been undercover and has had to kind of keep this facade up. But then this issue, they finally are able to talk to each other and figure out a little bit more of what's going on. And there's this powerful MacGuffin that they're all after, and Storm Shadow is involved. And then even towards the end of this one is when you start seeing some Cobra. Cobra Commander gets mentioned, so it's all kind of coming together. So it's been fun. It's probably been my least favorite of the 4. I mean, I think that's fair, but it's still been enjoyable. So 4 being Scarlet, Destro, then Duke, and Cobra Commander. So, but yeah, so that was what I got last week. This week, primarily there were three issues that I picked up this week, and this first one I want to talk about because I got a recommendation from fellow YouTube comics content creator Bunkmaster B. I've kind of like crossed paths with him. He does a lot of comics content, but a lot of not necessarily big 2 stuff, and I enjoy that. I like seeing some things that aren't on my radar, and I enjoy it. And he has a great way of talking about them. So anybody that's not checked out his channel, I recommend you do. Doesn't post all the time, but when he does, I think they're worthwhile watches. So this is an issue that he talked about I think this came out last week. Yeah, I think it came out last week. It's called The Autumn Kingdom. Um, so written by Colin Bunn and illustrated by Christopher Mitten. Now, again, I've not had no experience with Christopher Mitten's art, and I can't even say that I've had too much experience with Colin Bunn's writing. But this was a really, it's like, I know I say it a lot, and I'm certainly not as articulated as to why I like certain things when compared to, like, say, someone like Bunkmaster B. But I this is a good. It starts off with some fantasy elements, and then you realize that it's about a family. It starts off with like a fantasy world, and then you quickly find out that that's actually the narration of a book that is being read by a family that they're traveling in a car, and it was written by the father, and then in the backseat the daughters are reading the book, and they're kind of critiquing dad's work. So it's all about this family, and then so you get the tease up front that it's like fantasy, and then you realize it's a book, but then towards the end of the issue, actually fantasy elements are coming into it. So it's really interesting. I thought it was off to a great start. I watched Bunkmaster B's video. I got kind of hyped by it. I read it, and the hype I thought was justified. It was a really enjoyable first issue, so I'll gladly keep checking that. I have no idea if this is an ongoing or a miniseries. I don't know. So I don't know what I just maybe committed to, but we'll see. All right, so now the personal highlights for the week that I knew going into it, what I was looking forward to. Very Jorge Corona heavy, but Ain't No Grave issue 5 came out. This is the end of this miniseries. It's written by Scotty Young. Art is Jorge Corona, and so this whole story, and I talked about it in some episodes before, but so this gunslinger Ryder, who's down here. Sorry, I was mistaken. There's another cover I was thinking of. This is more about death on this cover. But Ryder's a gunslinger, and she has a very checkered past as a she's murdered a lot of people, but then she changed her ways, settled down, had a family, and she is terminally ill. And the whole series is her trying to get to death, to duel death, to stay alive and spend time with her family. And I gotta say, I loved the way this ended. I thought it was pretty poignant. I thought, as all these stories now that have to do with parents, children, family, they just hit different now as a father, and I love it. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I really get excited about, more so than So here's what I did. I didn't grab it. One other thing I grabbed last week was a Wolverine Revenge, I think it's called. I bought it because I love Greg Capullo. Greg Capullo's art is I love it. So I read that, and it's very kind of like straightforward. It's a Wolverine story, and it sets up, that Wolverine is wronged, and then he is going to go out for revenge, and he's going to go do what Wolverine does. That does not make the story bad. It makes it not super interesting to me, unfortunately. It looks beautiful and it looks great, but it doesn't, that's not what I'm looking for in comics. It's very straightforward. So even though and this is judging it strictly on the first issue, and that's maybe not fair. But I have a feeling, since it is Wolverine, that's the direction. It's just going to be a very violent, and it's going to look amazing. But it might be pretty straightforward because it's only a mini series. So that's the kind of thing that, while I enjoy, I'm not excited about. I'm not excited to get to the next issue. It'll be like, oh yeah, this looks great. This is Wolverine, pissed off Wolverine doing Wolverine stuff. Doesn't make it bad. It's just not as complex or interesting as I find some of these other stories that deal with family and just stuff I haven't seen before. And those are the things that as I'm diving back into comics, that's what excites me, and that's what I like. That's what I look forward to. So Um, which kind of leads into the the my I don't even know how to like word it. I don't want to oversell it, but like yeah, Transformers issue 12. Um, so this is a book that's got a lot of action, but like it's the crazy appeal of it is all of the relationships between all of the characters. They're complex. You know, you think Transformers. You know, if you have a baseline understanding of Transformers, it's Autobots versus Decepticons, and they fight. They're robots. They fight and action, and there you go. Um, but this take on Transformers is so complex. The relationships, between, there's factions within the Decepticons that have different motivations, and their relationships to some of the Autobot characters, some of the Decepticons like Astro Train, who is just like a brute, but he has like some kind of tender moments with Spike, the human characters, like teenage Spike. So like I love that. I love this series. Like I don't want to like overhype it, but like my God, this series has been really really great. This is issue 12, which is the end of the second arc. The first arc with Jorge Corona's art on it. Volume 1 was all Danny Warren Johnson. Volume 2, written by Danny Warren Johnson and with art by Jorge. And yeah, so it definitely closes out a lot of story elements, in the sense of the main threat of this arc was this space bridge between Earth and Cybertron, and that gets resolved. But what's wonderful about it is, Danny Warren Johnson is still on the series for another year of writing. So there's a lot of things that are not resolved in this issue, and I personally am fine with that. It closes out a big threat, but it feels like the middle part of a trilogy. If being honest, like it feels like the main threat has been dealt with, but there's so much, the implications of what happens in this one. The character dynamics are going to change, and sorry, I just got distracted. I looked out the window here and I just saw a fawn walk past the window. That was pretty cool. Anyway, so the deer, Transformers deer. Like what? If anybody, that's a sign. Probably means nothing if you have not. I mean, it does mean nothing if you haven't read the series. But if you have read the series, that was just amazing. Very cool. So I did pick up the second cover, the cover B, which is Jorge Corona's Cliff Jumper cover, and it just that is so cool. Like it has like Cliff Jumper, man. This guy has been through some stuff, and you know, I still have the one of the big the plot points of this story was them rescuing Cliff Jumper from the Cliff Jumper and Jazz from the clutches of Shockwave. And at the end of this issue, if you were hoping to find resolution on what happens to Cliff Jumper, you don't get that at the end of this issue, and which I kind of love. Like they're just it's you think like that's what they're gonna go. They're gonna rescue him, and that's gonna be, but like you don't know. It's unresolved, and I think that for this ongoing series, the mindset is looking at it like a trilogy, and because I think, I mean, or trilogy or quadrilogy, whatever it is, because the next two issues are drawn by Jason Howard, still written by Jorge Corona. It's more of a flashback story dealing with Starscream, and then Jorge Corona will be back for which I mean I guess it would be volume 3, because this is just like a 2-issue interlude, but then he'll be back on issue 15. Jorge Corona will be. So I think that's where a lot of the plot points will be picked up again from issue 12. And I think, in a way, I think what makes sense about that is this 12 issues so far just moved. I mean, it just was like action all the way through. The Autobots they like cannot catch a break. There's always like anything good happens, like something bad happens as well. And I think this 2-issue Starscream is a way to give everyone a breather, not in the story sense, just the reader sense, like because it's like everything, every issue, it is like amped up, and then end of issue 12. there's a resolution, but it's still so action heavy that you kind of need a break from that. I think this 2 issue coming up is going to kind of serve as that. But then it's just going to, I'm sure, again, pick up right from here, from the end of 12, starting in issue 15. So anyway, and the one last thing I thought was really cool was my comic shop owner knew that I was looking forward to this title, The Moon is Following Us, which is written by Danny Warren Johnson, who's doing some of the art duties, and then the rest of the art is heavily on Riley Rossmo. I think it was I think he said like Danny Warren Johnson said like 20% of the art like he's doing. My guess is that he's doing, and he may have said this too. He's doing like flashback type stuff, and then the main story will be all stuff that's drawn by Riley Rossmo. So that's coming out, I think, next week. But anyway, I thought that was cool that my shop owner, like, he gave me, there was a poster they gave me before, which is a Jorge Corona Transformers poster, and then he just said, "Hey, I know you like this stuff, so I put it in your bin," which I thought was fantastic. And again, that's like one of the cool things about going to a local comic shop, having a rapport with the owner, talking comics, and that's stuff that you don't get unless you go to a comic store. So anyway, that is all for this week. I had to double check. I'm not sure what all is coming out next week. I think it's Moon is Following Us. I think maybe Destro might be coming out again next week. I'm not sure, but whatever. We'll see what it is. So anyway, thank you for watching this one, and I will see you soon.